All right, let's do this. Let's go to Radio Row in Phoenix, Arizona. Site, I guess Glendale.
It's nice and warm there.
Yeah, it is. It's supposed to be. The last time it was there, I was out there, and it was not so great. It was like 40s in the morning, got up into the mid-50s. It was not a great week. Darren Smith
Before we
covers
punch
the
him
Chiefs.
up, real quick, sorry
Yeah,
to
go
cut
ahead.
you off, Jay. Earl set this up, and he said that he's coming with the most swag that anyone's ever worn on UCSS.
What?
And Darren, I don't know Darren, my man delivered. What's up, Darren?
Wow, let's see it. Hey!
What's going on, gentlemen?
Yeah, Darren
what's
is
going on,
dressed
gentlemen?
for
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Hell, Darren, you're dressed for TV Row. You look too good for radio, man.
That part is true. I'm going to be honest, and I'm sure you know him, Jay. His name is Jared Bell from USA Today.
Oh, I know
he
well.
So he had coined a couple of years ago, he said, this is my brand. I had joked I was doing the weight loss thing, and I told him I'm going to come to L.A., last year and be in, a white beater and lathered in baby oil. And he said, you can't do that. You have a brand. You have to wear a suit every day. And so Dana White in Miami, the year that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, sat down and said, look, everybody here dressed around, T-shirts, and these guys look like ragamuffins. He said, you look like you're running for president. He said, I like the way you look. Keep it up. So
Hey,
Dana
it's
White
working.
approved it. I have to do it. So.
Darren, it's working, man, and you're right. That's a good lane to be in because on Radio Row, I swear, people, it's rough, man. They look like me. They look like bull on Radio Row. They haven't shaved. They don't care because
Hey, my beard is neat and trim,
Why
baby.
you catch him like that, Steve? You ain't no good.
That is messed up.
Hey. So look, here's a fun fact. I literally watch you all every day. So like you all are second in my viewing. I have to watch Undisputed first, and I have to watch you all before I watch First Take and everything else. So you all are it's an everyday must. Like I didn't get in from open night last night, and I couldn't go to bed until I watched yesterday's episode with you all.
Wow,
So
look at that.
that's how much I enjoy you all's company. But going back to the Bull, you don't look like a French mafioso. You do look like you came from Jersey or something, part of the Soprano group. So shout out to you.
See, thank you.
that's what I
I want to be in the
compliment.
Sopranos.
That's a compliment.
It is.
100% it's a compliment. I appreciate that. I should have been on The Sopranos for crying out loud. I could have been a great mafia man.
He would have pulled that off.
Man.
Baby bowl.
He would have pulled that off.
So obviously, and we appreciate that you watch the show. Thank you so much. And the fact that you know the show, you know that it's
And
so
I'm a member too. I'm a paid member too.
Look at that, paid member.
Darren.
This dude.
That I am still bitter about the Bengals not making the Super Bowl, of course.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, I know you're not. But
You're not in Arizona if they made the Super Bowl.
I'm curious, Aaron, because I think
I'm
that
still here.
the Bengals are the only team that had Patrick Mahomes' number. And I'm not even sure that they really had his number, but they're the only team that had zero lack of confidence against the Chiefs. And I think the fact that they got over the only hill really they had to climb means they're coming in cool and calm, and I think they're gonna win this game. I think that one hurdle they got over makes things easier. I know Jay mentioned last week, and you can speak for himself, but that he thought maybe that was their Super Bowl in a way. I look at it the opposite, that they got over their biggest hurdle of the last year and change, and now they're like, we got this. What do you think?
100% agree. That was a loss again. The two losses that they had last year, especially in the AFC Championship game, that was something that they carried over into the entire offseason. Talking to the players in OTAs and in the preseason, stuff like that. That particular loss in the second half of Cincinnati last year was something that they struggled to get past because they had a complete meltdown. I'm not going to say the Super Bowl is going to be any easier, but the simple fact that they did get past that hurdle, because it starts to become a mental issue where Kansas City had problems getting past New England. When Brady was over here before they finally slayed the Giant in New England, I think the year that in 2019, and then when they didn't have to play them in the playoffs, but losing to them in 2018 in the AFC Championship game and then going to New England the following season, beating them, that let them know that if you have to go back on the road and play them, that you could beat them. And so they've been fortunate enough to never have to play a road game with Patrick Mahomes so far. But that loss against the Bengals last year stung them more stung them so badly that even the game that they lost to in Cincinnati in December had an effect on them because they were leading the ball game going into the fourth quarter. Travis Kelce had that got stripped of the football and fumbled, and the Chiefs never got a chance to score again. And so that was something that had been on their mind, that they've had the lead going into the game into the fourth quarter in all those games, and to find a way to lose it. Look, you got to remember, even 2 weeks ago when they played Cincinnati, they had 5 sacks and 2 interceptions and still almost lost the game. Now, for someone who was sitting in the press box, trust me, I was going crazy. So, it becomes a situation where you had to get over that hurdle. Otherwise, it might be Burrowhead Stadium or some, whatever they decided to name it.
Darren, for the Chiefs to win Super Bowl 57, what absolutely must happen?
They have to keep Patrick Mahomes clean. First and foremost, his ankle is about 85 to 90%. You cannot, I think the big matchup is going to be Orlando Brown and Andrew Wiley, the outside tackles, and making sure that Patrick Mahomes, stays upright, because we know what Hassan Reddick and what that defensive line can do. If they can keep him upright and allow Patrick Mahomes to do what he does best, and look, he works magic when he's able to run outside the pocket.
Right.
I prefer he doesn't, but that's where things happen. But when he's able to break away from the script and make plays, I think that is what is going to help Kansas City win. And for me, they have to score in the 30s in this ball game. I don't think a 21-20 game is going to suit Kansas City fine at all.
Darren, first of all, shout out to you, for pulling up, man. Once again, I don't know how much you're getting paid, but I don't know. You got a Men's Warehouse deal, but I need in on it. I need something. I refuse.
I do have a suit sponsor.
There you go, man. You got to get in on that.
Say nothing.
Listen, he's put together right now. I mean,
that's a fire.
This is only
great.
Tuesday.
You up the game every day,
I build up the game day. Oh yeah.
That's fantastic.
I got a brand. I build up every day. Yep.
Man, it's working for you.
By Sunday, he's going to be wearing the Kyle Kuzma puffy suit or whatever the hell that was.
Darren, let me see you out here in the spacesuit. He'd be like, yeah, dog, this is fire.
Well, I can't, look, everybody wants me to wear the suit that they won the Super Bowl, that they won at the Super Bowl, and I can't find it right now, because when I do, I'll have to pull. Oh, here it is right here. So yeah, if I were to wear that,
that is pretty
nice, very nice.
Wow.
Now, does that one make the trip with you? Is that a possible for Sunday?
No.
He's not running that back.
Darren's like, man, my rotation's so fresh. Like every 3 months, in and out, new suit in.
I do want to.
I have so many suits. My guy's name is Todd White. I have so many suits that I can't even hang up in the closet. I got suits piled up that I wear once, that I have piled up on my couch in my office.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Let me ask you this question. What do you make of this? We talk about it all the time. Sometimes you text me, and we talk back and forth. And Eric Bieniemy is going to Baltimore to apparently,
He's not. Let me stop you. Last night, he said the only interview he's had is the one with the Indianapolis Colts. He hasn't done any lateral interviews at all, and is not sure if he's going to do any, even after the Super Bowl.
Wow. And he shouldn't. Because I was going to be mad that he was doing lateral interviews, right? My point is, what does it take for him to get a job? What does it take? Like, I've never really quite seen this before. A coordinator who is, even if you want to say that he's not calling the plays, but he is an integral part of what they're doing offensively. I've never seen a guy run and have that much, just cachet and accolades where he just doesn't get. I don't understand. What is it going to take?
Well, look, man. Now this has been the only gripe I've had with Adam the Bull is giving Andy Reid all the credit as it relates to the play calling. Now, according to Andy and even Eric Bieniemy calls 52% of the plays. Andy calls 48. Now, Andy can always pull the head coach trump card if he wants to, but that is what they have said on record on how the play calling goes. Be that as it may, it is an interesting scenario where you look at Matt Nagy, you look at Doug Peterson, and you look at Sean McVay's coaching tree and stuff like that. These coaches never call plays until they got a chance to become a head coach somewhere else. Now, look, how much of it is race? I'm not. Look. I think 95% of it has to do with race. I think the other 5%, is a lot of, well, they want to discredit him to give Andy Reid all the credit. Because look, if the Chiefs score 45 points in the game Sunday, Andy Reid's going to be given the credit when it comes, to the amount of points being scored. But like the Indianapolis game that they lost in week 3, hell, Eric Bieniemy and Patrick Mahomes are kind of going at it right before halftime. Everybody blaming, Eric Bieniemy for the loss after the game because they only scored 16 points in that game. So it's, so he's in a no-win situation. I don't know what it is. He's gone through all the training. He's gone through all the stuff that the NFL had in the back in May. The diversity training. I really just don't know. I think it's going to have to be someone that's going to have to really take a chance. And I tell people all the time, if Eric Bieniemy was an issue in Kansas City, who do you think Clark Hunt is going to side with? Eric Bieniemy or the person that he has a $500 million investment in? And so, the players believe in him. The players love him. They believe in him. Tyreek Hill, even when he left, said that, Eric Bieniemy is that guy, and the players would run through a wall for him. So I don't have the answer, because if I did, he'd be a head coach by now, and I'd probably be, his PR person or something. But I really just don't have an answer. I think, the Indianapolis Colts, they have not named a head coach yet. So perhaps, something could be lined up in the waiting after the Super Bowl game.
Darren, let me clarify, obviously, because you brought up the fact that it's not that I don't want to give Eric Bieniemy credit for me personally. It's just when we've argued with Jay about the fact that, offensive, like the offensive head coaches call the plays. And you're saying it's 50-50, which is fine. And Eric Bieniemy should have been given not been given. He's earned an opportunity to be a head coach. It's not about giving anything. He's earned it. Obviously, race plays a factor. Who knows what percentage? But it is crazy that this offense has had this much success for this long. And obviously Patrick Mahomes gets a ton of credit because he may be the most talented football player we've ever seen. I think he's the best football player I've ever seen 5 years into a career. I don't even think it's close for me. And Andy Reid obviously gets a lot of credit. So because of that, Eric Bieniemy probably gets less credit, but he certainly deserves plenty of credit and has earned an opportunity in my mind.
Darren, let me ask you.
I'm sorry, Adam, quickly, I will say, to your point, that is also a reason why it baffles me why the Chiefs general manager, Brett Veach, doesn't get a lot of credit for the moves that he's made. Think about it. You trade Tyreek Hill in the offseason and all the moves that the AFC West made, and bringing Khalil Mack to the Chargers, you're bringing Russell Wilson over, and here it is. You get 5 draft picks, and you bring in MVS, you bring in Juju. I mean, you got 6 rookies potentially starting on this team, and here you are back in the Super Bowl with a 14-3 record. And I've been baffled as to why he's not even in the conversation for Executive of the Year.
It's a great point, and I'll even throw in 2 years ago when we saw the Chiefs' offensive line in the Super Bowl was hideous, and they turned it around, and now they got one of the best offensive lines in football.
They can draft. They recognize talent.
On a worldwide stage, they saw how decimated that Chiefs offensive line was, and boom, they had a remake. They had 5 new starters, which is why the Cincinnati loss in the AFC Championship game was disappointing, because they wanted to go back and kind of finish what they didn't get a chance to do against Tampa.
Darren, I want to dig in a little bit on what you said. I think we've all known that Andy and Eric share the play calling, but I've never heard it specifically put 52% and 48%. That's incredibly specific, first of all. And secondly, are they going like series by series? This is very strange.
Well, obviously, the last voice that Patrick hears is that of Eric Bieniemy. So, look, I asked Eric last night at the opening, what does he feel they need to do to kind of beat to beat Philadelphia? He said, they feel like they need to run the ball. So I had to point out, I said, you are the offensive coordinator. You can call some run plays. And so he joked about it. It was like, well, I might be selling the running back position out. So, that's something.
Do we just not know? We just don't know the answer. Like, they've kept that sort of close to the vest and how they decide who calls what.
Yeah, and look, and to Andy's credit, he's someone that, when they win, he shares all the credit, and when they lose, he takes all the blame. So I can't, it's really hard, because they'll never be as specific as Bieniemy was in their press at the time that he told us. Because, hell, I think I was the one that asked the question, like, how much are you calling? Because I get tired year in and year out, people talking about he can't interview well or he doesn't call the play. So I'm like, look, man, for once and for all, what's the percentage? What do you call? But again, Andy Reid being the head coach, at the end of the day, he can pull rank. Which again, I asked Andy how. I know you get Spagnuolo, unfettered act, with the defense, but if it ain't going right, are you as a head coach going to pull rank and do something? He kind of avoided that. So I get the situation that you all deal with Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland, because in a situation like that, that's what we deal with Andy when it comes to the defense.
Darren, I think the other element to this is historically in his career, he has been, Andy, that innovative, creative offensive mind. And I remember having conversations with folks on this exact topic. What is holding Eric back? And I'll just throw this out there and see if you agree with it. A lot of the folks that I was talking to told me that they, even if he's calling half of the plays, the general perception is that Andy is the motor and the brains behind this offense. He's the architect of it. When you see these creative hook and ladders and all these different things that they will throw at you, particularly their goal line package, the commentators never mention Eric. It's always Andy Reid, what a brilliant mind. How much of that offense that is installed there is from Andy, if you've ever asked this question, and what input does Eric have when it comes to actually designing, not calling the plays, but designing the offense?
That's a fair question. That's a fair point that you bring up. Andy probably does create a lot. You got to remember, in the Super Bowl that they won, I think he used a Rose Bowl deal from 1948 that he used in that game against the 49ers. We've asked that question. They spend an enormous amount of time at the stadium, even during the offseason, where they're always drawing up plays, because I think what they try to do is they try to utilize all the talent that they have and try to put these players in position to make plays and plays. And so, to your point, man, I think a lot of it is Andy, because he's done it for a longer period of time. You got to remember, you're bringing a running back who was a running backs coach, and that they got elevated to an OC. And Eric Bieniemy, people forget, he was an offensive coordinator at the college level at Colorado. Now, I don't know how much people want to credit that to his transfers to the NFL, but he's done it before. But the creativity, I will admit, a lot of it probably does stem from Andy, because really, you got Patrick Mahomes. All you're doing is laying up at night thinking of how many gadget plays and what can I do. And, we see Patrick throwing the ball left hand. Patrick is going to throw probably a pass behind his back in this game.
Yeah. Everything but
straight face.
No, Patrick, because Patrick has said that, you might see it in this game. And for me, it drives me crazy, because I'm like, man, you're going to do it the wrong time. Somebody's going to pick six it, and then I'm going to be really upset, because, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but, I do a little sports book here and there.
Oh,
so,
sure.
It bothers me.
Yeah.
And trust me, they know too.
Yeah.
They know too. Travis
that's
Kelce,
insider
Travis
trading
Kelce,
right there, brother.
Hey, Travis Kelce, right before the Raiders game, I asked him, I said, the last time you played the Raiders, you had 4 touchdowns in the game. He said, yeah, that's all I did. I said, yeah, I know. And everybody started cracking up laughing, because I had a parlay bet where, if he had 76 yards, I win $5,000. He had 4 touchdowns, which it helped, but I needed the yardage, and he only had 25 receiving yards that game. I've never forgiven him for that.
Hey, Darren, you mentioned that Eric Bieniemy said to you they want to run the ball. It's funny when it comes to drafting, right? You never know. They drafted Clyde Edwards-Helaire high, right? Like he was like the 32nd pick or something like that a few years ago. And then they draft this Isaiah Pacheco, who's like a 7th-round pick out of
Rutgers, baby, New Jersey.
And he's just based on the eye test, and obviously I watched the Chiefs play a lot, not as much as you, but I watched them a lot. Pacheco is a million times better than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, no?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Look, I have been trying to be the cheerleader to bring Kareem Hunt back to Kansas City, but when I saw Pacheco, I had to shut my mouth and was like, "Let me just be quiet." And Pacheco runs violently. I talk to him after every game. He has, he runs with a chip on the shoulder of being a 7th-round draft pick, and so you just see it. And we thought in the preseason that he'll probably be the starter about week 7, week 8. Man, he was started about week 4 against Tampa Bay, I think it was. And the thing is, not that Clyde's not a good person or anything like that, but he doesn't move the line. I mean, to me, he's just too small to be a starting running back in the NFL.
Pacheco runs angry.
Yeah.
I was talking to my
Oh, yeah.
son who watched him play at Rutgers. My son coaches track there. He said, Dad, he wasn't even a difference maker here. Like, when I heard that he got drafted, he literally was like, wait, Pacheco just got drafted?
Yeah.
Because he was just now my son coaches sprinters and jumpers, and he's always looking at guys on the football team that he would like to bring over to run the 100 and the 2, and he had always identified Pacheco as a kid he would love to coach track because of his natural speed. But he goes, Dad, he was just fast.
Yeah.
That's it. He never made a play that made anybody at Rutgers go, oh my God, we got to use this guy more. But Andy Reid gets him in the right situation.
Yeah. Indictment on that Rutgers football.
I know we got to let you go at 50, but real quickly here, because you brought it up. I don't know where Hunt is going from here. I really don't. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be back here. I just look at him and the success he had in that offense with Andy, and I can't think that wear and tear has worn him down. Obviously, he's 3 years older now, but are you hearing any discussion like that Kansas City might be interested in trying to bring him back and see if they can recreate that magic?
No, I don't think so, because you got 3 running backs or 4 running backs. You're essentially paying $8 million for them. So
Right.
it becomes a cost thing, and that's what makes Brett Veach so valuable. Because look, they had 10 draft picks, 9 of them made the team, and at least 8 of them are contributing right now. And here they are in the Super Bowl. So you look at that, they really don't have a reason to bring them back, especially when you got a 7th round draft pick who's going to be a starter for the next 3 years, and you're paying them 7th round draft
Got
money.
him on that
Real
rookie
quick
deal.
before you
Mecole
go,
Hardman.
Darren,
Mecole Hardman. Can we get him?
Well, wait.
Is it
No. More important than
Yes.
that, you can get him. More important than that, do you know the Joe Jaravicious G. Bush story that happened in Kansas City?
No.
Of course.
Oh,
Gee, you got to tell the
tell
story
us,
real
tell us.
quick.
Oh my
We
God.
don't have time to go through the whole
we
thing right
don't?
now. We got to bring Darren back after the Chiefs win.
Well,
we
give
can run
in
that whole
30
That'll work.
seconds. A radio station in Kansas City
Not yours. I
thought
think.
they were getting Joe Jaravicious on before one of the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Somehow, in the transfer of numbers, they gave him G. Bush's phone number, and G. Bush figures this out early in the interview and doesn't want to embarrass the host, so he does an entire 5-10 minute interview as Bro Jaravicious. They thought they were talking to
That's
Joe.
dope.
You got to listen to it. It's in our
Oh, my
archives.
God.
It is one of the funniest stories
I'll send you the clip,
ever.
Darren. I got
Thanks,
ever.
thanks, Darren.
Darren, you were
Appreciate
awesome,
it.
bro.
Hey, thank you all so much, G. Bush. I'll holler at you. Jason, I'm going to tell Nate Taylor you said hello as well.
Yes, sir. Nate's a good dude. Thank you.
Very well done.
Darren was great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Great
That's good.
wardrobe. Like, he's the best dressed person we've had on our show.